Thank you, Rich. Okay, so first of all, thank you very much indeed for coming. It's a great turnout. My name's Anita Alzamali, and I'm actually from South Gloucestershire and Stroud College, which lots of you will know as Filton College. Okay, so we merged with Stroud on the 1st of February, so we've got our new name. And I'm part of the employer engagement team. We've also got Rich in from Brunel Gordeno as well today. And we literally engage every single day with employers, doing our absolute best to convince them that to take on an apprentice is a really, really good idea. So we're just going to run through the slideshow. And what we're going to look at is the benefits of doing an apprenticeship, the opportunities that will be available, are available right now, qualifications you will actually gain, and what to do to actually apply. And then at the end, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. If not, then you can always stay behind and ask us afterwards, all right, if you don't feel comfortable in a large group. So, what is an apprenticeship? Well, it's a career option for you to consider alongside other options. It's a paid job with training, and it will lead to a package of qualifications which relate to the job that you're actually doing. So it's all designed to run alongside the job you're working at. And it allows you to be in full-time work as well as continuing your education. So you've got a package there of both education and work. And apparently somebody in the group asked this morning, could it be an option to not having to stay on at school? I think this is a new thing that you need to stay in education for an extra year or two or something. An apprenticeship is what you can do instead of that, okay? So, earn as you learn. Quite a good package, hopefully. So an apprenticeship helps you to get ahead with a job, pay, training, new skills, gaining experience, and also at the end of it, of course, that all-important qualification. And these is what we see as the benefits of actually taking up an apprenticeship. You're going to be employed like any other member of staff. You'll have a contract of employment, which may be fixed for the term of training, but it may be that immediately you're put onto a permanent contract, a long-term contract. If you're put on a fixed contract to begin with, there's not anything necessarily to worry about, because it could be very much that the opportunity at the end of it will be that you become a permanent member of staff of that organisation. Okay, so it may start off fixed. You're paid, and you get paid for holidays as well. That includes the bank holidays. So that'll be the same as what the other employees are getting. And you earn more as you become more experienced, more skilled, and more knowledgeable. You work alongside experienced and skilled people. And I think that's something that is often overlooked, that you don't realise on a day-to-day basis, sometimes hour by hour, the experience that you're picking up off the people that you're working with, okay? And then you're being trained, and you will gain the qualification at the end of it. So you'll have the opportunity to be treated like a member of staff. You do real practical work that's important to the business that you're working within. And you learn skills in a practical way through doing the real job. Now, you all know yourselves that when you're doing theory, yes, you learn a fair amount from that. But when you're doing something on a day-to-day basis, hands-on, and you're repeating it, you do tend to start to learn things very quickly that way. So you'll be expected to step up and take responsibility as your experience increases, and as the company start to trust you and can see that what your strengths are, you will be expected to take some responsibility, as all the other team do as well. And you'll discover what your talents are and what your strengths are, and we've all got different talents and strengths. You will become more independent, and you will shine. And there's even skills competitions that run through the apprenticeship programme. So, hair and beauty competitions, engineering competitions, construction competitions, these kind of things go on alongside. So you're gaining a lot of experience in lots of ways. So who are doing apprenticeships? What kind of people are doing them? Well, it's people that enjoy working and learning at the same time. And there are 440,000 plus people in England at the moment who are undertaking apprenticeships, and 9,150 in this particular area, and by that I mean the West of England area. 65% of them are your age, so between 16 and 24. Okay, so that's a big number of youngsters that are doing apprenticeships. So typically apprentices will actually earn the national minimum wage at the beginning of their apprenticeship. Does anybody know what that is for an apprentice? £2.60 an hour, it is indeed, yeah. And for a 38-hour week, that equates to just under £100. Now, that's the bare minimum, okay? We've got lots of employers that are actually offering more than that. And often, if they start at that, the moment you become somebody they can't do without, they will start to put increments in. So you might get increments at 3 months, you might get increments at 6 months, and your money will go up. I think the best job I ever got was a job for £14,000. So it's not necessarily going to be that minimum, but I think you have to be aware that you could start on that. And then once you're qualified, a level 2 apprentice, and this is some sort of facts and figures that we've got, can earn 11% more than someone without training. So somebody just doing a job. So if you do an apprenticeship, which is a job with training, you can expect to earn 11% more once you're trained. And once qualified, the level 3 apprentices, so that's the advanced apprentices, they can expect to earn 18% more than somebody who does a job without training. So apprentices earn a higher wage over a lifetime and have a greater likelihood of being employed. Okay, so it is giving you an opportunity to sort of invest in your career and earn more in the future. So this is just showing you figures of young people that have chosen to do apprenticeships, and they either strongly agree or agree. So the darker is that they strongly agree, the orange is that they agree. It's a well-recognised qualification. You can see that's a really high, that's 96, yeah? I like the idea of getting a job and doing the training at the same time. That's 53 and 45. It's a high number. I'm not very good at maths. I want to do something practical rather than academic. And again, what's that? 89% either strongly agreed or agreed on that statement. So 250 plus frameworks available for apprenticeships, equating to these kind of jobs. And this is just, a minimal amount of the kinds of jobs that apprenticeships are offered within, okay? So 250 plus. It's not the sort of thing of, it's just construction or it's just hair, it's just beauty. There are many, many, many areas that you can work in and follow an apprenticeship. So it's a package of qualifications. It's something that has to have a job. So the centre of this qualification is a job. You've got to have a job in order to do an apprenticeship. And once you've secured that job, you will be looking at the competence qualification, which is the practical sort of collation of evidence. So everything you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And your trainer assessor will come into the workplace and help you gather that information. You look at transferable skills such as maths and English if you've not got those GCSEs that you perhaps wanted to get when you left school, and IT as well. You'll be taught about employment rights and responsibilities, so you understand what you're expected to do and how you're expected to behave as an apprentice. But on the other hand, you'll also learn what your rights are as an employee, and that will take you forward into the future, not just for this job, but for future jobs, so you know where you stand. And then we've got the knowledge and the technical qualification, which is usually when you would come to college, not always. Some apprenticeships are completely work-based. You don't even have to enter a college to do them. But if you are asked to come to college, that's the kind of thing you will learn. And it's the nitty-gritty and the underpinning knowledge of that qualification. So it's the whys and wherefores. And then, depending on the employer and the employment you've got, you might be asked to do other relevant qualifications along the way, such as health and safety or maybe food hygiene, depending on what you're doing. So what are these levels? So we've got an apprenticeship, which starts at level 2. Okay, now that's equivalent to 5 GCSEs A to C. I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. And then you've got the level 3, which is an advanced apprenticeship, 2 A levels. Moving on to the higher apprenticeship, which is becoming more and more available in all the different areas. They're not available in every single area, but we expect it to expand over the next year to 18 months. And that's equivalent to a level 4 qualification, which is a foundation degree. So as you can see, this is a route into higher education on a work-based way rather than going to university. Okay? Now, the level 2 is where the majority of you in this room will actually start. Now, I know that you're year 12s, 13s, so you're studying at the moment towards a level 3. So it seems a little bit strange to think that you've got to start at a level 2. Now, the only way we can actually explain that is that when you're in a work environment, you are starting from scratch. To do a level 3, you either have to be team leading people, supervising people, or running a major project. And there are some areas such as IT that might be the case. So if you're an IT professional apprentice, you might start at a level 3. But in the main, you do start at level 2 because you have to gain that experience before you can go on to actually lead other people. So it's very unlikely at your age, with your experience, that you would go on to a level 3 immediately. In some cases you can. But I don't want you to be put off by that because it's a year, sometimes it goes by very quickly, and then you will undoubtedly go on to the level 3. Okay? So who's involved? It's a partnership of the employer, the training provider, which is the likes of the colleges or the training providers that offer the training, and you as the apprentice. A very important package which you can't do one without the other, really. So you need all three to be able to have that relationship to do an apprenticeship. So this is looking at how you can find that apprenticeship job, because in order to do this apprenticeship, we've said you need to find work, okay? Don't just stick to one route. We've got a variety of training providers in the room out there today, including obviously myself and Rich, but we've got people here from construction skills, we've got HIT training, which is sport and leisure, we've got Paragon skills, which is business, and other colleges along the way. Okay, so it's important to use that expertise in the room this afternoon. Don't leave without getting as much information as you can, even if it's just picking up prospectuses and information that they're offering. School and college will obviously give you assistance in how to sort of job search. I'm sure you've all started looking at doing your CVs and maybe interview techniques, that kind of thing. Start talking to friends and family. You know, does anyone know of anyone that can offer you a job or can speak to you about a job? The internet, obviously, a really good place to look. You're all sort of very computer literate, so you can go on and look on things like Google and that kind of thing. Connections advisors are still available, and you can make one-to-one appointments with them. And knocking on the employer's doors, so getting yourself dressed suitably, depending on the career that you want to do, taking your CV along, and actually being brave enough to go in and say, I want to do an apprenticeship. Is there an opportunity here for me? Who do I need to speak to? Try and find the decision maker, the person who's in training or HR that you can talk to, or if not, maybe make an appointment. And that takes quite a lot of guts, but well worth it, okay? What I would say on that is, for any of you, if you find an employer that is willing to listen about apprenticeships, but it's quite difficult to explain everything I'm going through today, then the likes of Rich or I are very happy to go out and talk to those employers on your behalf. So you just need to give us a ring, tell us who they are, and as long as they've been happy to have your details, their details passed across, we'll actually go out and see them for you. And it might be that we can actually secure the final deal, that we can say to them, this is what it's all about. You know, would you like to go forward with this? Okay, so we can explain how it all works. We're very happy to do that. Obviously, open days like today, and job adverts in the local press. You know, don't expect to see an ad which says looking for an apprentice. It may say the word trainee. Be brave. If you see someone looking for someone within, say you want to do business administration, be brave enough to ring up and say, have you thought about the option of taking on an apprentice? Did you know that we will be trained as we're working? Okay, so it takes a fair bit of hard work, and you probably are looking at allocating at least a couple of hours a week, if not more, to job search. And I know that's difficult with everything else you've got to do at the moment. So using the internet, this particular website here, www.apprenticeships.gov.uk, that is where every single training provider will put vacancies for apprenticeships. So employers come to us saying, I want to take on an apprentice in engineering. We will advertise it on that website. How many in the room are actually on that website now? Good, so that's brilliant. What I would suggest is that you register now. It's a little bit early to start applying for jobs, but by registering, and if you say the area you're interested in, every time a job comes in, you will get an email alert to tell you that job's come in. And around about sort of April, end of April, May time, you are now going to be in a position to start applying for those jobs. Okay? And then obviously the other ones are Gumtree, going on to actual employer websites. So if there's a particular employer you'd love to work for, get onto their website and it will take you into their job page. I think Facebook is something that I would be really surprised if not one of you is on Facebook. So you will find jobs linked to employers on Facebook, but what you can actually do is get it on your wall that you're actually looking for an apprenticeship, you're looking for a job. Does anyone, I don't know, my son's got like 1,000 friends. So chances are there's someone out there maybe looking for an apprentice, yeah? So start you know, using people that you know to try and help you. So these are some of the websites that we've looked at. One of them, this is the one that advertises all the apprenticeship vacancies. How many people in the room know they want to do an apprenticeship, but they're not sure in what area? Is there anybody in the room? Yeah? So do you all know what you want to do? Okay. Well, just in case you sort of start thinking about changing your mind, if you go onto the apprenticeship tab there, sort of halfway between, those 250 plus frameworks will be on there. And you can start looking behind, you know, what is business about? What kind of apprenticeship do I do if I do a business apprenticeship? What kind of one do I do if I do engineering? What kind of one is it if I do construction? And it might give you some ideas as to where to go next, okay, and what to look at. It will also tell you on there the training providers that actually cover those courses, because not all training providers will cover every single one of those 250 plus frameworks. Different training providers cover different ones. Okay, so this is you now sort of registering and going on to look at the vacancies, okay? So you're looking to put in a keyword and you can search by either location or postcode, okay? And then once you're registered on there, as I say, you can start looking at all the vacancies that all the training providers have put on there. So just to clear up a few myths, because there are myths that surround apprenticeships and people do get a little bit confused. If you are 16 and above, you can do an apprenticeship. Some require attendance at the training providers for college information, but not all. So it could be that the whole thing you do is actually in the workplace and you never enter a college or a training provider's premises. Some apprenticeships start in September and finish at the end of the academic year, which is the same as school, June, July, but others will be continuous throughout the whole year. So if you don't secure a job by November, it's not a problem with some areas. So you start in November when you secure your job, and then you finish the following November. Okay, so it doesn't have to be at the start of the academic year, which we're all used to. You can do your A-levels, and you can do an apprenticeship after that. So it is what we call a post-18 option. And you can go to university after an apprenticeship as well. Okay? You are responsible ultimately for finding the job, although we are here to support you. And you will need a CV because when you're registered on the National Apprenticeship Vacancy website, which some of you have already done, you're asked to fill out an application form. We do not usually pass that application form on to employers because it's not very specific. It's not what employers are looking for. What they want is a CV, okay? So a CV with a good personal profile. And some final tips for you. It's going to take time and effort. Do your absolute best at your GCSEs and your A-levels. So it's A-levels, isn't it? AS and A-levels. Employers like to see, you know, good results. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to have good results to be capable of doing an apprenticeship, but employers are getting more and more sort of what kind of results are coming through. They are really looking at that. Build a good CV and a portfolio. And by a portfolio, we mean anything you've done sort of voluntarily, you know, things you've done at school, anything that will show an employer what you're capable of. Start collating that in some kind of portfolio that you can take to an interview if you're offered one. And if you can get some kind of part-time work, volunteer work experience, that always goes down really well with employers. And certainly I've known young people that have volunteered a couple of hours a week, possibly sometimes during the summer holidays, and have moved on to do an apprenticeship with that particular employer because they've proved themselves and they've worked really hard. Keep your options wide and consider all kinds of things, apprenticeships, jobs and other courses, and be persistent. And there's lots of information out there today, and ask for help and support, okay? So before I go on to any questions, I just want to say to you as well that we've got a young lady next door called Roxanne Pollard, and she's an apprentice who's sort of in a top flight career path going through apprenticeship. She's next door, I think, isn't she, to the right there. So she's doing a talk about her journey as an apprentice. So I think it's probably, if you can get in to see Roxanne, that's probably really, really good. Okay, so have we got any questions? No? Okay. Lovely. Well, thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.